In our view, in our parts, we have made the cover part, bottom part, and also the groups here, which is just consists of this feature, this assembly here. We also have tried to make the electrical motor with drive gearbox, and we only need two sections here. We need two parts for our assembly. We have to just satisfy the part number 4 here, which is the flange part, and we also have to just save our spacer part, which is on the back side of our part, and we'll just continue to this rotation part. Also, we have some standard parts. We have the keyways, the bolts, connection bolts, and also we have some other parts. We are going to make these parts, and we will just combine these parts to each other. For this, we have a keyway between these two parts. We have a sectional view. From the top view, we have this one. We are going to make this flange part, and we will just combine everything in our model. But first, I would like to just go to the back side of our submission, and I would like to just create two small parts, and starting from the flange part, which you see on the screen. As you see, we have a view with the sectional view and also the front view. I have assigned this view as a front view. We have a sectional cut. As you see, our section comes from here, and this section, we have 13 millimeter, a hole here. Also, we have a cavity at this point, which is the 60 millimeter, 60 degrees. And we have which around copied this cavity here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 times. Also, we have our sectional view just passes through this AJ line, and this AJ line which is has then just come across with a hole here, which is this point, and this with the connection bolt flange here. We are going to just start a new design for this flange part. I open a new inventor part file. I will just make this one. The first thing that I'm going to make is this outline view, and I would just like to add the holes from the outside. Also, we have some inner views, which I have seen the details. I will just create all the details on our part. Standard millimetric IPT I have opened. For this, it's a very complicated part actually. I'm going to make a center point visible and XY plane visible. For start a sketch, I have just create two lines and convert these lines to construction and have the midpoint coincident on these two examples. Okay, here I'm going to just create two circles and also another PCD here, a little slide, little one. Also, we have a small hole here. Let's give the dimensions first. I'm going to use these two circles for creating these lines. As you see, we have an outline first, the biggest dimension I'm going to make, which is 150. The smaller one, this has 40. And also we have a PCD here, which is 115 and 120. We have two PCDs, which is 115 and 120. We have two sideways. As you see, the bigger one, we have this hole in common, and the smaller one, we have the hole from the back side of our part here. For backside operation, we have again 6 holes starting from the point here. For this, I will just make the trim to get that point first of all. Okay. The next thing, I would like to just create a line which is 30 millimeter far from the access line. This one, we have a 30 millimeter, and I would like to have a construction and get this connection. This is not correct. I will just use this point for back surface, and I would like to use this point as my whole distance from 120. Okay, finish my sketch first. This is the sketches. Also, I'm sorry, I will just go back to this point. The first thing, I will just create this point, this circle here, and the figure which I have seen in this figure. I will again use the same center line, 2 lines, the other line, these lines, or we can just use 1 line and make the copy by using this axis line from this point. I will just make trims, and for the other side of this line, I will use this line on the other side and make trim for unnecessary parts. I do not need these parts. Okay. The next thing, I will give the dimension here, which is 60 degrees here. Also, I would like to just define 13 millimeters. And for this hole, we have 13 millimeter. If you want, you can just use this one. Okay. I am sorry. 30. Okay. You can make it around, but I will prefer first create the biggest flange here, then make it extrude, then create the hole here. Then afterwards, I will just create the holes here. For here, I would like to just make the first extrusion to the back side, which is 10 millimeter from this point. Also, yeah, I can also just make different ways to just create this part. There are many ways. You can choose one of them which suits your needs. For this, I will just like to have an extrusion with this asymmetric extrusion. I would like to have select all the points, but this time I would like to keep my sketch at this 30 millimeter far from the front face. For this, I would like to give a symmetric, and I would like to increase the A length, which is the 30 millimeter, which represents this figure. I would like to also just go back to 10 millimeter, which will satisfy the 40 millimeter in thickness. Or 10 millimeter the back side, 30 millimeter to the front side. I will just close my sketch. Then I will use the visibility here again and create an extrusion from this point. I will just make a cut, but this time to the other side with selecting through all properties. This is the first cut which I have made. I need the copies around this one to be copied around for 6 times. Also, I have forgotten one thing. We have no holes at this point. For this, you can just do many things. For example, for simply, I'm going to just create and get the geometries of our islands left after this extrusion topography. Okay. I'll just make the extrude, which I have seen here. These small circles. I'll use these small circles with through all to the back side. As you see, I have left this one. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just again just satisfy this section here. Okay. The next thing, yes, that's also possible. Okay. Next one. Next thing. Okay. Also, I would like to have a flush at this point, which is, I cannot see that dimension. I think it's probably 780 or 100. I'm sorry. I think I haven't put that one. Let's put a circle here, which is 100. Seems to, oh, okay, 90, I think. No, 100. 195. No. Yes, 95. Finish my sketch. It's missing at this in this sketch. I would like to just make a cut in order to have this cut with 6 millimeters. Okay. As you see, we have the flush here. We have the cuts. We also have this cut here. Okay. The next thing, what we are going to do is we have a flush at this point. From the back side, we need the whole axis. For this, I start a new sketch from the back side. I need the line here, which is passing from this point. I out the project geometry. This line, I need to use this point on the back side. I'm going to close the sketch visibility here. I will use this point, have the hole with dimensions, have the hole. This time, I'm sorry, this time our geometry. Okay, I'm gonna get that again. That's this one. Our geometry is different. You have a hole type, something like this, with the contour bore. You can use the isometric profile, which just passes through with metric 16. You can also use, or you can just use a blind hole with the same dimensions like this one. I'm going to use this. I have 17 with the contour bore length 12. Also, I will need a through hole, and the dimension of our hole is 12. And for connecting hole, I need this one. As you see, we just create a new hole here. To show you better what we did, I will just go have the half section view. First, I have opened the plane here. As you see, we have made a new hole from the back side. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just end section, save my part file. This is the part file. correct this one. Okay, a little bit. 5, the flush, let's say. Okay, the next thing, what we have here is the whole creation on the back side. For this, I just started a new circular pattern. This time I'm going to use the whole feature at the end and select the rotation axis around this point. And I need 6 of it. I will just look from this side, as you see, which I have seen at this point. I have saved my file. This gives a warning because I have not saved our section view here. Okay. So this, I will close. The next part, it's rather a simple part again. Like this, we have the spacer. Okay, the next thing, I would like to have the visibility on XY plane. First, I will just create an outline and take the inside. I will choose this point, the back point, as origin for my figure. Start in a new sketch. I have started a line this time and convert this line as center line. Then I will just create an 8 line, convert it to construction because I'm not going to use it for revolve process. And I will continue my outline just starting, and I will follow this section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just follow this section. I will just go around this section. Okay, I'm going to make that sketch. Oh, let's leave as it is. Let's continue. I will go straight, top side, go right, top, again, to inside, and make the connection to each other. Then I give the dimensions which I have seen. The biggest dimension I'm going to start with, which is 60. I will adjust the rest of our dimensions according to this one. I have 61.5 added to 10. Let's add 1 by 1. Let's add 10. Then give this dimension constraint, which is 61.5. Now I have the total height. Here I'm going to make 26 from this point, 26 inside. Also I have height. Here I have 50 inside this height. Let's do as this. Also, the last one, we have 25 inside, which is our shaft and motor flash gearbox flash connection dimension. I have the revolve tool. Make the revolve. For our process, I will just clear my annotation. We have some chamfers on the top side, on the bottom side. I will just make for ease mounting. I will just go and have the chamfer command with 1 millimeter by using the face here and just select the edge to this corner. Apply. Then again, for the back side, bottom side, I'm sorry, again, this edge to be 1 millimeter with chamfer. These are the two parts which we are dealing with. This is the part 5, but I have previously get that part 5. Let's say This is part 6. This is the spacer. Okay, these are the parts. Let's make the assembly together. Okay, we have finished the parts. First, we are going to just collect our box here. We have four parts: cover, body part, and the flange, the input and output shaft groups. Also, we have some details around them. For this, I'm going to close, open a new file. This time, I'm going to make a standard millimetric IEM assembly site. The next thing, we will place from this command, and I will just choose, first of all, this is the CAM drive, input group, output group, not CAM threaded, the body part, the cover part. These are all I need right now. I'll just bring them to my figure here. With left click, I will just create a new copy. This time, this is our index part, which is the drive assembly. I will just call this drive assembly. Okay. I have forgotten the input group, the CAM group. I'll just bring that part also. Okay. Then I will escape. I'll copy it to one. Okay, the next thing, I will just combine these four. Before starting, I will just make the body part, first of all, grounded. I will just construct everything on this group. Also, I will rotate as I wish. Here, what I'm going to do is the biggest one on the other side. We have this input group, and also we have the output group from this side. This is the small one. Okay, I will change, rotate this view, this part, because we have the section here to be flashed to input group. Input is our CAM group. I will also rotate this group for easy mounting with escape. Also, I would like to just use XY plane, or I will just use the assembly mode, assembly bearings, because we have the bearings in the right places. Only we do not have these ceilings and other things. We will adjust that ceiling as well. Okay, the next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just go, first of all, I will go and open these parts one by one. I will just open and make this one right hand. The output group, I will just convert every part to steel. Except the bearings and other parts. I will change the material to steel by using, this one. It sometimes takes time to load the library, steel. Okay, I will change every component here. Also, for these two elements, I will just use the generate material, get rid of this one, steel. As you see, from the bill of materials in this section, the assembly one. We have the BOM structure and detailed the model data. You can also see some additional choose columns from this one. You can have the material and the mass comments. You can add this comment and the mass here. You can adjust your representation and BOM from this point. As you see, we have again check car parts, shaft, index, roller plate, and all these shafts. These are also the library parts we have. And just save all the parts. I will close this assembly. When I go back to, you can also give the colors, but I'm not going to make this colorful. I do not want to lose time. I will just make the assembly as quick as possible before your exams. You can also make the appearance with beige assembly. As you see, we just color all the things to beige. You can also change the visual style with shaded edges. As you see, you can just convert them to black. These are the black parts. Yes. Okay. It's better, so not very complicated, but it's much better than the before. We will also just rotate our part for ease assembly. Then I'm going to make, save, and have the constraint and get this part together. Also, for this sitting position, I will just search this face and the face on the body part against each other, like this. Okay, this is our part. Also, I would like to just take it back. For this, I will just go to Measure tool, from the Inspect, Measure. From this tool, I will just search this face to be on the other face. I would like to just have this ceiling at least 24 millimeters back, because it is just goes inside of our figure. As you see, we have a rotation here, but our ceiling just stays on this point. For this, again, this is our output group with open. Then I will just make, I will take back to this one and just measure constraint. First the measure this face from this face. We have 78 millimeters plus with 20, actually a little bit around more than 102 or something like this. I will just copy this dimension, have the constraint, and I will just give the face constraint. At this time, it is just having the same length. I would like to have 78 plus 20, let's say 25, which is very close to our viewing. When I go save my file, now when I go back to the view here, as you see from the top side, let's play with this one. we will just take it inside of this ceiling. These ceilings, the lip ceilings, just save our part quality and oil quality in a closed, enclosed figure, prevent dust and other foreign materials to inside of our enclosure. This or lip seals prevent our enclosure. Next thing, we will constrain this one with this group. For here, I would like to just make adjustment, constraint. If you want, you can use the roller constraint, or you can use the face on this point, or the face on this point. From the top side, let's check it again. As you see, the rollers are goes inside. We have the limits here, as you see. Okay. We will just make one tangent condition with our cam and our follower to have this one. Again, constraint, tangent. This time I will use this face to be tangent with this roller face. Okay, let's move it. As you see, when I move it, it just moves and take it back to other face. I turn this one. You can also see this movement, as you see. Also, we have another face, but I'm not interested in this relationship too much. Okay. Okay, I leave it as it is. Save my part file. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will constrain first the face of our part. This one with this face. Okay. Then I will just insert one or two hole here. I will make this hole to be coincident with this one. As you see, you can also make another hole connection with constraint. Let's say this is fixed also. I would like to have the next hole to be fixed from the outside. Okay. Let's also give and define the steel parts. These are steel, actually iron cast. These are iron cast. This is, today it is Father's Day. We have a yellow and also a blue color, like this. I think it seems good. Okay. The next thing, we have the input group. We haven't assigned input group parts to steel. I have opened this parts and select the parts that we haven't done so. We have actually two parts, these three parts, and these are all steel, as you see. We have already made that one. Okay, components of our parts. Okay, it's done. Then I will just choose the body part and make the, I'm sorry, this one. It is on the cover. I have left XY plane visibility off. And save all our part files. Okay, this is our figure. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will create another big assembly. This time I will just bring the drive assembly, the motor, and the connection parts together. I will just create, again, place. This time I will go to drive assembly. Let's search it with the drive assembly. This is our first part. I will bring this part. Okay, I forgot the bolts here. I will save the first with the cam design, cam drive parallel, cam drive unit with electrical motor. Also, I would like to just give footages to have our figures here. Yes, this one, it is our figure with. Anyway, I have forgotten the drive assembly. One thing, open this one. We have some bolts. Shaded with edges. I will just recall place from content center and check my figure. In our drive assembly, we have 4 parts with metric 10 with 30 millimeter hexagon. I'm sorry, the socket had bolts here. 4762. With ISO standards, let's select this one. I will just change first of all this dimension with metric 10 30 millimeters. This time we do not have any right figure. I would like to just create 10 bolt here. How many of them? Anyway, if it's missing, I will just copy and paste. Yes, I'll have one more. I'll just create the assembly. First of all, this all to this point. I will change the direction, not to this way, I'm sorry. First, before this one, I will rotate. I will select everything to rotate from the top side. I will select all the parts, small parts, convert and rotate to this side for easy assembly. This time I have an easier way. Again, constrain this mold to be in this section with apply. This one to be in this section. This one to be in this point. Apply this point to be in this point. This one. Apply this one. Right. Okay. I think I need 4 more. Let's copy with paste. I will just copy, paste, paste, paste for the other parts that I would like to need. Okay. This time I will change my orientation view like this. I would like to just make this point here. Okay, apply. Lastly, I apply something. I will fix 1 to 1 bolt here. Last bolt. I need this connection. The last one I'm going to just delete. Again, For face connection, I will give a mate connection with this face. This time, I will just do something special to have the constraint. This time, I will use the flush command and make this bolt with straight on the same level side by selecting the face bolt. I will just make bolts flushed having the same level to each other. I'll use this one for other side. I would like to use this one to be flushed with the first one. Apply. Then the next thing, I would like to have this one to be this. Okay, the next thing, we have this one to apply, this one to apply, this one to apply. Okay, we make the connections. I will save and exit. When I have update, as you see, we have a parallel drive with drive unit. The next thing, I will just bring two other parts. I will omit this one, place from content center. I'm not going to use this time. I have the motor here. I brought this motor. We previously have this one, and we will just connect the connection here. I will change the appearance with red color or orange color. Okay, with this one. Also, I need two other parts. We have two other parts. I will just place the last two parts. We have the flash and the spacer. Control button, I have selected these two. The flash will just go to other side. For tightening purposes, I will just make this one, this axis to be in the same axis on this point. I will use again this face to be on the same face. Okay, let me move a little bit more. Okay, to see better. This one to be inside. Okay, anyway, you can also make this one to be inside with our figure. Okay, we will just insert, oh, I'm sorry. I will just first the make component, make grounded. I have forgotten that one. I hope I haven't. Yes. Okay, this is okay. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just use the motor, electric motor connection. This is not very important. We just choose this representation. Here, what I'm going to do is I will just make the constraint the first body part, body flash here. This connection. Okay, this one. But I would like to have on the other way around, at this one, like this, because our connections are on this way. Okay, this is 100. I will just go back here. I will just make these points. Let's have this selection. I'm sorry, I have made a mistake. Okay, go back, Go back. Okay. We will just make the connection first. I think I would like to have, see, I will just close the visibility. Okay. This time. Yes. Okay, that was true. My first move was true. I'll just rotate this flash. We have these connections. The other one, I will just connect the other bolts to our flash. First, make the output shaft on this shaft to apply. Also this one, this circle. I think let's use this one again. Okay, this one. I think I did made a mistake on the top side. Oh no, I don't know so. Anyway, I can just see the faces, the connections here. Then I will just make the sit on this point. I have the flash, close the origin points, visibilities. I will just make the faces to each other. This face to be within this face. Okay. The next thing, we again component visibility here. Okay. The next thing, we would like to have, we have a hole at this point. I'm going to use this one and use the other side. So as you see, we have this connection with apply, and I will have a connection at these two faces to mate it to each other, as I have seen on the technical drawing. Also, I would like to have, I think I have made this one. I would like to just make the faces against to each other this time. As you see, we have made all the connections with XY plane. I will just close the visibility. From the first one, from the first figure, I will just bring, we have made this assembly modeling, and we will just get the part electrical motor, drive assembly, spacer and flash. We need two different bolts, and actually three different bolts. This is the hexagon sockets, and the other, this is the hexagon sockets goes into our body part, and these are the other socket bolts inserted to our flash, the electrical motor. Okay, I will search for these parts. Okay, from the part content center. Before something happens, I would like to save my part file, assembly file, I'm sorry. I just saving, then place from content center. I need three different things, 69, 12. This is the only wall part that I can just bring is these parts. Metric 12 with 60, I need 6 of it. Metric 12, the 60, I need 6. I'm going to just create 7 parts. And the last part, I'm going to change 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The last one, I'm going to change its size with right click. First select the part with right click, then change the size to 40. And that 40 just goes to inside of our shaft part here, this one. We will just use this connection in our connection. Here I'm going to just make, I'll just again, okay, make it collapsed again. Okay, that's this one. Save my part files again. I will just close the visibility of our part. When we get this part visibilities, it's sometimes, okay, let's take it back and change, select our view default with a new default. We will just go back to where as it is. Okay, then save our part file again. The next thing, I will just go to and close the visibility of this part. When I get the visibility back, sometimes it has the associativity get lost. Again, right click, visibility here. I will just insert these bolts here. I will first rotate one by one. This one. This one. We have 6 bolts for this. I'm not going to make a special operation. Okay. 6, yes. Where's the last one? Yes. These are rotate. Okay. The other one is also I'm going to rotate. This is the part for on the other side. I will just make that connection later. Okay, I will just make the constraints. First, the axis constraints. This is the axis we need. This is the axis we need. This is the axis, the bigger one. Bigger holes, I'm going to just catch this one. Okay. This one. Okay. You can also make the component copy pattern. I'm sorry. Let's have the constraint. First, I will just flush the faces of our parts together. I will just make 6 parts to 1 part. When I adjust 1 part, I will adjust all other parts to other parts. I will adjust, as you see. This is like an exploded view. It will just go together. This time, I will just make a special move here. I will constrain, change my view here. Escape with this face. On the other side, I will use one face to be flushed on this other side. I have just mounted all the bolts here. Okay. The next thing, I will just make this bolt connected to here. but for seating point, I cannot see from outside. For this, I will just make a half section by using this view to inside up to where I see the parts seating, yes, this point, like this. And I will just make the constraint this face and connect it to this face like this. Okay, I have this way, save my part file. Then I will just go and section view, because I need to use this way. This time I will just close the part visibility. I will use the other side of this bolt, which are, this is the bolt, hexagon bolts, inserted to this way to the body part and the cover part as well. We have ISO 4070 with metric 12 with 30 millimeter in length. I will just go assembly, place from content center. (4070). This is the hexagon. I will just go ISO for, just get one with right click, left click, I'm sorry. With metric 12 with length 13. Okay, I will place one. I need to just make one constraint to this circle, and I would like to have another constraint, face-to-face constraint. I would like to have constraint. This is the face. I will go back to this face, have the pattern command. I will just make this pattern by using this one. I need 6 of it, 6, and I will divide 360 to 6 to have the 6 copy around here. As you see, we have the 6 copy. I will just reopen the visibilities of the parts which we have seen here. And this is the end of our assembly modeling. We will continue with the technical drawing side.